Today, I'm going to be doing a live Akashic channeled reading. I have already said my own personal pathway to connect to the Akasha before this, and now I'm going to be saying the one I use to connect other people to the Akasha. I want to give some background in my connection with the Akashic records, or what I call Akasha. I've taken a 1 year mentorship to build that connection with the Akasha for myself. And now I am in another year-long mentorship for relational Akasha to share readings, messages with others. And I know that the name Akashic Records is what we might know them by, and I honor and I appreciate that. But I feel like that's just like a term to help us understand them with our human mind. And I do find a visual of a really pretty, gigantic, colorful library to be like the energy of the Akasha, but it's also like beyond that. To me, it can also represent like all the stars, not only in this universe, but the multiverse, all the universes. It's like a vast space that houses all the energy, all the essence, all the memory and history of the lives that our souls have experienced. So, for example, right now, I am Azul. I am Azul Lopez in this lifetime in 2025, but I have been many other beings, human, animal, plant, energy, gas, and past lifetimes. And it is through the Akasha that I have been able to peek into some of those, what people call past lives. But in reality, if we remember that time isn't linear, they're more like parallel lives. They're happening right here, right now, at the same time. We have that wisdom from those experiences too within us. But of course, we have to focus on this lifetime. That's why we were born, to focus on a purpose, the goals that we have for this lifetime. So it's beautiful to deep into the different realms, the different lifetimes, but to use it with the intention to help us in this one, because this is where we are right here, right now, in the present moment. The Akasha is also a very compassionate energy. It is all love. I connect to it when I'm doing mediumship readings to ensure that I stay connected to only loving spirits, that I open up to only that. Because there are many different forms of spirits, just like there's many different forms of humans that can cause harm. I don't even like to call them evil sometimes, because to me, that's just like a word that I heard a lot in the Catholic Church, and it was just thrown like evil this, evil that. Yes, there might be some energies, entities, spirits that might be considered evil, but then if we think of how all energy exists from something, like if we all come from the divine, and then after that we decide what we do with that, because we all have free will. um I like to think of the essence of even that coming from the divine. I feel like that helps me neutralize it. But anyways, I like to connect to the Akasha when I channel, and any form of channeling that I do, mediumship, because it is this very compassionate, very loving energy. And from experience, yeah, like I have not had an experience where I'm channeling or reading and I feel like something happens where it's not honoring my boundaries, or yeah, my desires as a channeler or reader. And I feel like it is because of that connection to the Akasha. Okay, that's my little, I guess, just summary of my experience with it. As I was saying before this, I opened my own pathway, so I'm already connected. That's why I'm like so chatty. I feel like I get so chatty. I feel like me, just Azul, regular smegular, like I can be talkative, but not as much as when in this space. They just feel like there feels like there's so much energy that wants to come through, and even words sometimes aren't fast enough to transmit it. But I'll do my best. So I'm now going to read the pathway that I use to read for other people. Okay. So if you are hearing this, if you are here, I ask you to pause and consent that you want to connect to this energy. That is very important when you do any form of reading with others, from others, that you consent to opening up your energy. I set the intention that the people who are meant to experience this and hear this will hear this, whether it is right now, whether it is in the future, whenever that may be. Okay, let's take a deep breath together. Soul and supporters of the people that are meant to hear this. Creator, multiverse, ancestors, spirit guides, Akasha, all that is. Please help me connect these people to themselves through this Akashic pathway, to the heart. Please help them feel your guidance, love, and support as they access the spiral within. Please help open up their perception to the portal of possibility. To all of you listening to this, may you be able to see and feel yourself through this Akashic compassionate lens. May you feel empowered to be yourself. May you experience your desires in the time that you have left in this life. May you be great, may you be small, may you be anything you want. May this connection honor the extraterrestrial nature of your soul and the extracelestial nature of your body. I trust and affirm that we have connected to the Akashic realms for your highest good and purpose in the most supportive and easiest way for you. I'm going to take some breaths. I invite you to do the same. And let's just sense together. We are now connected to the Akasha. We always are, but in order to help our human brains, we use pathways like this, prayers, to signify that we are now connected. So I invite you to feel for that connection. I usually feel it in my heart, in my chest. It feels very expansive, almost like beaming, pulsating energy is flowing into me. I'm going to continue to describe the sensations that I feel and also the visuals, the words that I hear, the messages, the themes. To start off, I see what looks like two very bright, they look like lightsabers like from Star Wars, but they're like very bright. Um and like real like white light energy, because I'm thinking of the ones that I played with when I was a kid, and there were like some red ones and they were like plasticky. These aren't plastic. These is like two, yeah, very bright ones, bright light energy. It's so bright. They're just beaming. And it's almost like they're guiding like a path of like a lighted pathway. And this is in connection to now moving towards the winter season. And everything's turning dark, and all I can see is that lighted pathway. And they're asking, the Akasha's inviting us and asking us to honor both the light and the dark, how they're both very necessary. It's very necessary for us to have these extremes in our lifetime as humans. This is the way that Earth functions here. It's a very cyclical planet. Um, the Akasha reminds me of what I have learned in past connections with the Akasha or channeling, that it's a big deal to make it to have a lifetime here on Earth. There's usually more souls than there are bodies. So I know if you're having a challenging time right now and you might be like, I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask to be born into this timeline of capitalisms, all of this. I want to honor the feelings that you're experiencing because I've experienced them too. But it was a big deal for you to come here at this time. it is a big deal to be here on Earth, this very cyclical planet, where darkness and lightness is very necessary. So they're expressing the darkness as the winter, envisioning animals going into a cave, reminding us that we are animals too. We're no different. Just because we wear clothes, just because we have jobs, we're still animals, we're still nature. And how that's still very necessary for us. But it doesn't have to be complete total darkness. It's like the setting, the color, yeah, the setting is dark. There's no light, but there's these almost like guideposts, almost like lights that can light our way. And what can represent those lights can be so many things. They're talking about herbs, they're talking about people, they're talking about literal candles connecting to fire medicine, allowing for the winter to exist within us, for the darkness to be there. Let's dip our toes into it as much as we can. Let's be in the darkness as much as we can. But then if it gets too challenging, you don't have to stay there. We can ask for support. We can try to be in the sun as much as we can during the day. We can light a candle. We can light a bonfire. There can still be supports. And that's what they are wanting to share with us. That it's not just this energy of death, energy of stillness, energy of pause, energy of darkness with no supports. And they want to also almost like empathize with us as humans again here in this um located in the United States and California, this very hustle culture society, and how it has been difficult, how it has been lost, to slow down, to allow for our bodies to slow down for the winter. If we didn't have to invest so much energy in keeping going against, literally going against nature, we wouldn't be so tired, we wouldn't be so depressed around this season. If we would allow ourselves to go with the flow of life right now, which is slowing down, giving us this invitation. I now see a person using those lightsabers, those lights, almost like when you're walking through a bridge and yeah, you're holding the ropes for balance, allowing those lights, the warmth of the fire to be your balance. Little by little, there's no expectation for things to change beyond your comprehension, beyond where you're at, beyond your capacity, just little by little, just an openness for things to be easier, for things to be slower. It starts with you and then it's mirrored towards your reality. It doesn't start with the out in, it starts within you. You have to be able to perceive it first to even be open to this being a truth in your reality. If we're used to everybody hustling around us, our family, society, the media, it only makes sense that that becomes our natural perception of the world. But in this moment, we're being invited to shift it. Even just the openness, even just the acceptance that there can be another way, even just that. And I invite you to take some breaths to integrate these messages of support. Allow yourself to continue to be guided throughout this season. There's always supports, but you have to open up to perceive them and to receive them. Even if in the past you felt like you needed support and you didn't get it, I invite you to please try one more time. Give reality, give life, give the universe, give your community one more chance to show up for you. Extend patience and compassion towards yourself and others. Thank you for listening to this message. May it be of support to you. I'm now going to close the pathway, thanking the Akasha, thanking the energies that showed up for us to deliver this message today. Thanking you for your time, for your presence, for your energy. And let's take 4 deep breaths to close at our own pace. Thank you for being here. The pathway is now closed. Thank you for the comments and your presence. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.